Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing whether or not you should wish or skip on the upcoming 5-star character banners and weapon banners for Hu Tao and Yelan and the Staff of Homa and Aqua Simulacra. Let's get right into the video. I want to reiterate, as I do at the start of every wish or skip video, that wishing is completely up to the player. If you want these characters, go ahead and grab them. And if you don't want these characters, that's absolutely okay too. I'm just trying to give my opinion on what I think would be best in primogem value. Now, before we delve deeper, I want to mention that these are not by any means character guides. If you are looking on how to play Hu Tao or how to play Yelan, there are hundreds of guides out there. I would highly recommend check out Sevi Plays or check out I really like watching their content for the guides on how to learn characters, but here we'll just be taking an analytical approach to see whether or not these characters are worth your primogems or your real world counterpart in money. I also want to start by briefly touching on the 4-star characters that are going to be in this banner, those being Ningguang, Beidou, and Xingqiu. Ningguang you don't necessarily see on many mono geo teams. That's typically the likes of Yunjin, Ito, Albedo, and Goro. So Ningguang isn't really a character you need to pull for here. Beidou is kind of in that same boat. She is a better support than Ningguang on teams, so you can go ahead and pull for her. But what I really want to talk about is Xingqiu, because we know Xingqiu works really well in the current Dendro meta, especially with the release of Alhaitham, but he is also one of, if not the best supports in Genshin Impact. He offers great Hydro application, which works really well for Dendro and Vape teams, which will be superb with Hu Tao coming out, and he complements Yelan quite a lot. But I'll get into how Xingqiu works with the 5-star characters once we talk about them individually. Now, let's talk about the 5-star characters. And I want to start by talking about Yelan because she plays a very similar role to a 4-star character on her banner, being Xingqiu. Now, although these two play a very similar role of sub DPS support, what Yelan offers is a higher overall team damage for less Hydro application. And because we know Xingqiu works really well in the Dendro meta, we can expect Yelan to work just as, if not better, in that current meta. Another way you could play Yelan is you could actually use her with Xingqiu to increase your overall Hydro application and an increase in overall team damage. This works extremely well for Vape teams, especially if you pair it with Hu Tao, who is running at the exact same time as Yelan. Therefore, I would give the Yelan banner a wish, and I hope you guys will too. Looking at the Hu Tao banner, I think it has equal value to the Yelan banner. We haven't seen Hu Tao in over a year. It's been about 21 banner cycles since we last saw Hu Tao. So just for that alone, for people who want Hu Tao, I would highly recommend wishing on this banner right now. That way you can get her, because who knows how much longer we're going to be waiting again before we see this character reappear. Hu Tao is also an amazing pyro DPS, being one of the absolute best. Works insanely well with Xingqiu and Yelan, as mentioned previously, for Vape teams, as I find Vape teams are where Hu Tao succeeds the most, being able to work with that Hydra application. She can deal some insanely high numbers of DPS. The one issue with Hu Tao is she may not fit in the Dendro meta, so if you do plan to use her with Dendro teams such as Nahida or Dendro Traveler or Tignari and Kale, she might not work as great as she can with a Vape team. But it looks like these two banners are designed to build a Vape team. You have Xingqiu, you have Yelan, and you have Hu Tao. You essentially have 3 core members to an absolutely powerful team that you don't need to worry too much about putting Hu Tao into the Dendro meta. The only reason why I say she might not fit into the Dendro meta is because we've seen that Electro and Hydro Dendro reactions are a lot more valuable than the burning reaction you get from Pyro, and therefore Hu Tao just might not find the success until maybe a better Dendro support releases for her. Although Hu Tao may not find success in the Dendro meta, I would absolutely give this banner a wish. Again, as I mentioned before, we haven't seen her in 21 banner cycles. Who knows how long it's going to be before we see her again, and these banners are essentially built to make a Hu Tao team. You just have all the necessary resources, so I don't see why you would not wish on both of these 5-star character banners. Getting into the weapons, we have the upcoming 5-star polearm Staff of Homa, along with the upcoming 5-star bow Aqua Simulacra. And now these two weapons are respectively the highest crit damage stat 6 you can get in their respective categories. There's nothing that will match them, and both of them have some really good passives. Let's start by talking about the Staff of Homa. The weapon skill, Reckless Cinnabar. HP increased by 20%. Additionally, provides an attack bonus based on 0.8% of the wielder's max HP. When the wielder's HP is less than 50%, this attack bonus is increased by additional 1% of max HP. This is designed to be Hu Tao's best in slot, as we know that Hu Tao deals the most damage when she's below 50% HP, and so it is a great weapon to pull for her. It works really well on both Zhongli and Zhao, getting them that HP bonus since Zhongli needs it for a shield, and Zhao loses HP during his burst, so this helps him keep that sustainability a bit higher without a dedicated healer, and therefore I would give the weapon banner a wish. And so this weapon, it's one of the best pole arms in the category, and it fits a lot of the recent banners we've had, as we just had Zhongli a couple months ago, and Zhao has just recently passed for those who ended picking him up without the primordial jade winged spear. Moving on, we have Aqua Simulacra. Once again, one of the best bows in its respective category, with the weapon skill, the cleansing form. HP is increased by 16%. When there are opponents nearby, the damage dealt by the wielder of this weapon is increased by 20%. This will take effect whether the character is on field or not. It is essentially, again, a weapon designed to be Yelan's best in slot, as we know all 5-star characters come out with their 5-star weapons, but it also works as a really good weapon for freeze Ganyu teams, and because the passive still procs only if the person is wielding the weapon, it still works as the best crit damage stat stick on people who are looking to play Child, as the effect still procs even when Child is using his melee mode. Having these two phenomenal 5-star weapons, I would absolutely give this banner a wish as well. We can now talk about the 4-star weapons: Dragon's Bane, Favonius Sword, Lithic Blade, Favonius Codex, and the Rust. Let's talk about Dragon's Bane first. It increases damage against enemies affected by Hydro or Pyro by 20%. Now, we saw a weapon like this recently, being the Lion's Roar, and when we talked about it, we noticed that the Lion's Roar didn't have a lot of value on its banner. Now, we have the Dragon's Bane, which is a perfect 4-star spear for vape teams, especially on the current circulation of banners in which we have characters designed for a vape team. This is a great weapon for Hu Tao. It pairs really well when you use her with Xingqiu and Yelan, and so if you don't hit Staff of Homa, you can stop at Dragon's Bane and you still have a really good Hu Tao. The one downside to Dragon's Bane is the Elemental Mastery substat. You would much rather on your Hu Tao have crit, which is why you want to go for Staff of Homa, but the Elemental Mastery, it'll help you with those combinations, especially the vape, a little bit more. It just makes Hu Tao less reliant on her regular DPS as opposed to her elemental reactions. Now, we could talk about Favonius Sword and Codex at the exact same time here, as essentially all Favonius weapons are the exact same. Your crit hits have 60% chance to generate a small amount of elemental particles, which will regenerate 6 energy for the character, and this can only occur once every 12 seconds, with a substat of energy recharge going up to 61.3%. Both of these weapons are mid. They're not necessarily the greatest, especially because there aren't many sword or catalyst users who need that energy recharge very strictly, as opposed to something of the likes like a bow user like Faruzan would need it, or a polearm like Raiden would need it. The only character you could really see some use here is if you put the Codex on Mona. It could work really well as her, as it's useful for Mona's talent kit. Other than that, there's better options for these weapons. Looking at the Lithic Blade, much like the previous banner, because it's Lantern Right, we're going to have a weapon designed for Liyue characters, and this is the Claymore that for every character in the party who hails from Liyue, the character who equips this weapon gains a 7% attack increase and a 3% crit rate increase. This effect stacks up to 4 times. This isn't as good as previous weapons, as I believe the only Claymore user from Liyue is Xinyan and Beidou, so it doesn't really help out anything else. Of course, Beidou's on the banner, so you could slap this on her, but you're not really going to play Beidou with a full UA team unless it's just something niche you're trying out, and so this weapon is kind of a voided weapon. You're not going to see it have a lot of use unless you're building that specific niche team. Finally, we get to talk about the Rust. This is a weapon that increases normal attack damage by 40%, but decreases charged attack damage by 10%. It's, once again, we talked about Child earlier. This is a really good weapon for Child, as it can boost his overall damage, especially when he's focusing on his melee mode, and you could just spam regular attacks, as you're not really going to be using charged attacks on melee Child unless you're going for the 1-2 charge pattern, and so every third hit is going to have that decreased 10% in damage. But overall, the Rust is a pretty mid weapon. It's not the best. I would say in regards to the characters that are on the banner, Dragon's Bane is by far the best, as Rust doesn't really benefit Yelan, and there's no other bow user across the two character banners. With that being said, we have now covered both the 5-star weapons and the 5-star character banners, and I would give wishes across all three. I think this is the best banners we've gotten in a really long time, and this is the place to spend your primos if you're not saving for anything specific. Of course, we have upcoming banners with Dea and Mika and some other new characters, and I imagine Sumeru reruns are going to start really soon, so we'll see Sino and Nahida again, maybe Nilu, but this is the banner to wish on. Even in upcoming reruns and upcoming new characters, I still think this banner is going to far surpass a lot of what else we're going to get this year, because the two characters on it are really strong. The two weapons are some of the best in their categories, and we have Xingqiu. We have a really good 4-star character to wish for, and Dragon's Bane, a 4-star weapon that really complements the character on the banner. I just think this is a very well-rounded banner and a place to put your primogems. So for those who are going to wish, I wish you the best of luck in getting your characters. Hopefully you get some constellations, luckily. If not, I hope you get your one-off and you're very satisfied with your character. I might actually drop some of my savings on this banner. I'm not sure yet. Of course, as you guys know, I am still waiting for that big boy Varka to get released, but who knows when that's going to happen. But with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, as we have a goal to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, and it would be greatly appreciated to see you join in on our club. And let me know in the comments down below which character you're going to be wishing for, if you're going to wish for one or both or none, and which weapon you're going to go for if you're going to go for one of those as well. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next video. So long, everybody.